Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Are the Opera Power with Gail and Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Gail.
And we have a very special guest, and we're so happy to have her. This is Rita Cragwell. I'm sure you've heard her name thrown around in our video this time.
I'm so honored. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Rita. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, so happy.
So we just
I'm thrilled.
a brief conversation, and we've decided we're going to talk about storytelling. And Rita's always good with storytelling in the proper sense, explaining storytelling in the proper sense. So, Rita, why don't we throw it over to you?
And I'm not sure what to say.
Okay, we were talking about creating stories and how we'll use Jane's example. Jane, you share your example.
Well, I had the story that the soil that I bought for my plants last year isn't any good, and my plants aren't growing because of the soil. And Rita pointed out to me that, well, that's a story. And I was like, yeah, that actually is a story, of course. And why couldn't the story be that the soil was in the bags and it actually made the soil better and that my plants are going to grow even better? So, yeah, it's tricky when we're making stories for myself. And I was saying to Rita too that, you get caught up in I don't want to say the negative story, maybe the fearful story versus the hopeful
Beneficial.
story. Beneficial.
Yeah, beneficial.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
We're continuously making up stories. We don't think we're creative, yet we're always creative.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't even realize a lot of time all throughout the day you're making ends. You're saying stuff like, well, I just know that's going to happen by the end of the day, or I'm sure it'll show up in the next hour. That's an end.
Yeah.
That's an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't realize it.
Yeah, a lot of people get tripped up about like time and understanding only half of the equation. Okay, to God in your heart, to imagination, it's not about time. It's about until it's complete. Okay, until it's complete.
Right, right.
And so people who think of time, oh, that could take forever. Because now they've made up a story about how long it's going to take and blah, 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 blah. So one of the things you can do to convince yourself that, and it's to convince yourself, all right, that God in your heart's got your back and is listening to you and he knows what time it is. You just, as you're about to lay down, and go to sleep, just say, don't turn your alarm clock on. And just say, thank you for waking me up about around 5. That I just would love that. If I got up at 5 tomorrow morning, that would be great. And you go to sleep. You will wake up at 5.
Yeah.
On the dot.
Yeah, I've done that.
And so he's always listening to you. So if you say, I know this is going to be resolved by the end of the day, it will be resolved by the end of the day. That's if you're holding that conviction, especially when you said it.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from. You can't have that, I'm lying while I say this feeling.
Right.
Well, why
or analyzing it.
Yeah,
analyzing how it's going to happen.
The how.
Yeah, the how. Why are we so convicted to believe, like I've said to Gail so many times, like something bad will happen, like you'll trip. Oh, I tripped and it was because, and then if you say, well, I was thinking about my friend call, and I was picturing them calling me and talking to them for the last 24 hours. And sure enough, they call me. I'll tell people, they'll be like, oh, well, that was just a coincidence. And it's like we're more inclined to believe the fear and be convicted about fear than, what did we say? Not hope.
Yeah, you tend to cling to the fear rather than the hope.
Right.
And,
Like what you want.
What Gail said is more correct. Instead of hanging on to the beneficial, you know, and that gives you the hope, which is I have it. I know I have it. That's the end. You know. So
hope has never, to me, hope has never been for lack of a better description, an end conviction.
No, it's
like it's kind of that line between, you know, 1 foot on absolutely and 1 foot on, well, I'm not quite sure, maybe I don't know.
No. Hope is happy expectation. You damn well know it's yours.
Okay.
Like a pregnancy, you know you're pregnant. You're not holding
it's
that.
Never felt that way to me, but I can look at it.
But it's that happy expectation of the baby will be there and you will be holding that baby in your arms. Right? You go decorate the room in happy expectation that the baby's coming.
Yeah, I get caught up in the middle.
So that's what Neville Garter called it Sabbath, which he twisted it all up to 9 ways to Sunday doing that. Okay, but when you go before El Shaddai, you're going to be asked, the congregation's going to be singing it, and you're going to answer faith, hope, and love, or you're coming back for an age or two. It's that simple. Okay, because if you don't answer those that way, you don't know what's going on. Because the greatest things in life are faith. You have the faith, the unseen will be seen. That is what faith is. Hope, happy expectation, the unseen will be seen. This is conviction. Okay. Yes. And love. Yeah. I love it. There's nothing more I want, you know, than feeling that baby in my arms, you know, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Faith, hope, and love. And then when you answer that question, it's hallelujah. And when you don't answer that question, because usually the answer that comes out of somebody's mouth who doesn't answer that way is me, myself, and I. Bye. We thought he was ready and he's not.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Can I revise that?
No. Enjoy your 3,000 more years.
Oh. So if there's something you want to change out there, you have to change it in here. And having the conviction that it's all is well. Like I was saying earlier before we came on to record, I said, it's almost like when things get really good for me. And I was literally like, oh my God, everything's so wonderful, so wonderful. And then it was like, yeah, but that one, now that everything's wonderful, that maybe that one thing that I want to manipulate, I don't even know if it's a manipulation. It's like, what's it called?
You're being Catwoman.
Okay. Explain this.
Cats represent imagination, and Catwoman is always thinking of something new to go bother you with.
Oh, okay.
Cat that just looks at you and says, fuck you, and knocks the glass off the counter.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Cats represent the creative force.
Okay.
Dogs represent consciousness in your heart.
Okay.
They're the pet split in two. The pet human being.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what he represents. And he represents man's best friend, the cat as well. Okay. Because they're most favored pets. Because man was the most favored pet. And now he's joining us. We have to give him his own pet. You know, so here you go. You know, and if you notice in Rome, they have cat ladies. Cats are everywhere.
Yeah, Egyptian too.
Egyptians too. They just love their imagination. They love the cat. They knew what was going on. You know, we don't. We went stupid. Son of Man Rising is going stupid. It's going full tilt, we believe objective.
Right. So
Don't you bring your feelings into this.
okay, so then if there's a desire for, what is it that, it's almost like a trick. It's like I'll be thinking everything's within, and then it's like, I don't know, I want to call it temptation or trying to control, like Gail and I were talking about. It's like control, ego, fear, they're all sort of the same like thread of thinking that tends to throw me off my conviction, I would say. And then I go back to my conviction. I'm like, oh, my conviction. What am I doing? What am I doing? Like, this is so lame. So lame. And it's like almost like the space between the time, it's almost like I'm being able to bring it back to the middle faster than ever before. Like, I don't drift as far. I can drift pretty quick though. Like it can take me off, or split judgment, and judgment kicks in a lot of times. It's judging. Oh, well, this isn't good enough. That, okay, now that this is good, I need to make this even better, and I'm going to do that by instructing the other person on how they have to act.
You know what the other person's gonna say, right?
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, that cat going.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
You know, like I like to go on LinkedIn. It's a business social website, right? And they'll put stuff on Dr. Fauci says this, right?
Yeah.
And I'll put in there, you know, laughing out loud. He makes my side hurt. He's so cute. He's the best bureaucrat ever. He really is. He really is. And he'll tell you what the boss wants you to hear every freaking time. No, but the reality here is you don't know what Dr. Fauci thinks. He was telling you what Trump believed when he was with Trump. And then he tells you what Biden believes when he's with Biden. And he was even doing that during the Trump administration, telling one group of media, you know, news people, if they were Trump kind of conservatives, he told them what they wanted to hear. And then he would turn around in the same day and go on CNN and say the opposite, you know? So what does that tell you? It tells you, you don't know what Dr. Fauci thinks. Why would you listen to him?
Yeah.
He's a good bureaucrat. He wants to keep his job. I got it. Good for you. But I'm not going to listen to you. And if that bothers you, that's your problem. That's not my problem. You know, none of my business.
Yes.
And a lot of those people will spout out LOA stuff, right? And it's pointing this out to them that better stop that. Got your ego wrapped up in it. You're going to have your bass bitten. Oh, no, I always get what I want.
Yeah, the ego.
They're very objective in their, when they're doing it. It's very objective.
It is. They use it objectively.
Yeah.
For instance, yesterday I was watching a Senate committee hearing, and this girl, quite righteously, well, height is a matter of choice. No. So
height?
Height.
Okay.
So and she was quite adamant, quite serious, you know, and they're laughing at her. They're laughing at her. Okay. They're all objective, but she knows the laws and have been using them. You can tell she's quite adamant about this. Right. And they're laughing at her because they think your genes control you. And right. So they're laughing at her. She's getting pissed off, you know. So, yeah, darling, I know what you mean. But the reality is you're judging.
Yes.
Does it feel good getting your ass bitten? Do you like being laughed at?
Oh God, no.
You know, they wouldn't laugh at you like that if you were actually thinking and not spewing
Yes.
what you think others should already know. You think that you're better than them because you can do it. You think your life's perfect. So you know what? No, it's not. That's what it's showing you.
Yeah.
And now you're getting pissed off and your life ain't so perfect anymore, is it? Because now you're going home pissed off. Now you're going home, meh, 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 meh. And now more ass biting comes.
Yeah.
You know, and we call it karma. You know, and you can go on YouTube and get to see those instant karmas. Karma is instant.
Yeah.
It really is instant.
Yeah.
It just hard to connect the dots.
Yeah.
So like you raging on the freeway and there was that wreck. Well, I've come home from raging on the freeway only to spend the next 2 hours raging with my neighbor.
Mm.
You know, he just came out of the blue, out of nowhere. You know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can tell when I mean, in my experience, I'm the one, I noticed, and again, this is long before I've learned what I've learned, but I am the one that sets the tone for the day in my house. And
Yeah.
good, everybody's good. I think we lost your sound,
Audio.
or you're just mouthing that to be funny. I don't know. But in the same vein, if I'm off, then people are at me and it's like, oh, I'm just going to the bathroom for a minute to just switch.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. I
mean, that's just something I noticed that before I knew anything.
Okay.
But thank you. Now we're rocking.
Yeah. So, for you, Rita, like, I'm just curious personally, like, was that, like, how did it feel for you shifting from objective to subjective? Like, was it like a big aha moment, or has this been over your lifetime, or?
Well, I was sent. So I was pretty much subjective. And I didn't understand a lot of things and it hurt me. So I became more and more introverted. I was the Dear Abby to everybody. They would just come tell me their problems and here, think of this, and instead, and I would tell my mother, why is that? Why? Nobody wants to hear my problems, but they all want to tell me theirs. I don't get that. And she was just like, you just make people feel better, honey. You just keep on doing that. And I'm thinking, yeah, when's it my turn?
Yeah. I can relate to that from being a pleaser. I was a pleaser, so.
Yeah, and that was, I really wanted to be in acting. It didn't matter what it was, if I'm the prop manager or on the stage, it didn't matter. Just let me be there. And I did it all. I did directing. I was a prop manager. I was, I built sets. I acted in and participated in all that. And one of the reasons my husband says he fell in love with me is he's an iron worker and he likes to climb heights and build buildings, right? I would climb 20, 30-foot ladders to go change a light bulb in a theater. And there are these extension ladders and you go up them and then you hook your feet around them and then and he just thought that was so cool. You're a little iron worker too, Rita. Let's see how you can twist it. I did. Yeah.
That's so cute.
And
so do you feel like it's been like
I know when I fell into objective thinking, exactly it was with my husband. And it was 6 weeks into our relationship. You know, that was it. And I spent the next fucking 30 years being depressed. Don't get me wrong, not all the time, but it was a depression that never really left. It got worse. You know, I always were saying the right things, but I would do things that were upsetting to me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like doing it, but I felt like I had to do that.
Right.
You know, and that kind of thing, it just bugged the shit out of me. And then we were falling into more and more judging and maligning of each other.
Yes.
And because it was like, when is this fucking gonna ever end? And so, and here's the real biggie, you know, he got upset with me about fooling around with another guy. And the way that whole thing went down was, we had a date. He called me at the last minute and said, I can't date you tonight. You know, I gotta go do something else. And I thought, when he hung up, how disrespectful that was. This was the last minute. What's so fucking important, right? So this other guy I'd been off and on flirting with and seeing called me. He had come into Austin. We were going to the University of Texas, living in Austin. And he was from Houston. And he was like, he's in town. You want to go out? Sure. I don't have a date anymore, right? We ended up screwing in the park. Yeah. I didn't even know why I did that. I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? I was outside of it while we were doing it. And it was like, eh. So then Mike shows up the next day and tells me how he went to go do this drug deal. And that's where he was. And that he spent the night screwing this girl. Okay. And I said, that's funny. I spent the night screwing this girl. Because you bitch. You know, I lied. I didn't really screw any girl. I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, instantly in the hole. Beat yourself up. Didn't even occur to me to come back with, why'd you lie?
Yeah.
No, I'm beating myself up for having screwed around on him, taking his word for it that he didn't screw around on me. Okay?
Yeah.
In this attack. And it went to hell in a handbasket after that. And then came the point, he chased me all over Austin. And as he was chasing me all over Austin, I thought, this is not going to end until my teeth are in the middle of my mouth or I'm dead. You know, by the end of the night, my teeth were in the middle of my mouth. You know, and I looked at him and he was crying. He was so upset. He was like, I was just going to open hand slap you. I don't know why my hand closed into a fist. You know, I don't know. And he was just devastated, right? And I was like, you just had to. So I would have to tell my mom and dad what you've been doing, what's been going on. You know? And he goes, I love you. Get the fuck away from me. I was very calm with my teeth in the middle of my mouth, you know, and got home and I didn't fall apart crying with relief and happiness until the dentist fixed. I could look in the mirror and see, you know, he fixed it. And it was like somebody died. Mike, my husband, it was like he died. You know, that was the feeling every time I thought of him. My heart hurt and it was like, you know. And we got back together, he never hit me again. I knew the physical would never happen again. But it just moved. And that's that snake. It moved into mental and emotional abuse. It moved to, and and I believe he's like that. So he's doing it. But the first 6 weeks of our relationship was heaven. And that's when that story stuck in my head. Up until that point was Mike Cragwall could do no wrong. Mike Cragwall was the best. Mike Cragwall is the man. He's my man. I love him. He can do no, I don't care what his family says. They're crazy. He's wonderful. And it was, you know what I mean? But then came this. And it was like, and that was my battle. And then it became money. The root of all evil. Because you think you have to get it from others. Because objectively, you get it from others. Don't realize it's God and them moving them to give you what you want. So it's not them. It's God. So you fall into that, the root of all evil. And I was the main bread provider, because computers came easy to me and I just fell into it. Microsoft offered me a job over the phone. And when I called them up, just all I wanted to know was, I wrote this batch file. Is this going to work? For me to load up the computer and run this game. And they were like, how did you figure that out? It's like, I don't know. Something told me to do it. And I did it. Is it going to work? Yes, that's genius. Do it. Oh, look, it worked. He can play World War II. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I cared about. So my husband noticed that, and he encouraged me to go to networking school. I went to networking school, and computers was like theater to me. This is amazing. This is wonderful. I love it. And it was, if you think about it, if you dig into technology, you dig into networking and stuff, it is the story. Okay. It's called the Osi layer, and there's 7 layers to go from physical up to the cloud, or from the cloud back down to the physical. And you have to have metadata, right? In the headers, right? Before the message can be sent and received. Okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I was so into this technology and everything, and everybody was all freaky deaky. What do you think about AI? I think it's only as good as the idiot programming it. That's what I think. What do you think? Because it tells you, I would tell people this all the time. A computer can only do exactly what it's been told to do.
That's right.
What did you tell it? And they would laugh at me because the first thing I would do is pat the computer like a dog. I would pat it. Hey, baby, how you doing today? Well, it's a piece of shit. No, don't talk to it like that. You talk to it like that, it acts like a piece of shit. I'm here now.
Yeah.
It's not a piece of shit. It's great. Let's see if it'll come up. I hit the button, it come up. How'd you do that? I'm serious. Don't talk to your computer like it's a piece of shit. It's your tool. You love it. It helps you. Love your computer, and you won't have to see me.
Yes.
That is true.
Just that.
I would bitch when I get back. Why can't people see that computers are just their great friend instead of their pain in their ass?
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's always been that way. And so when I found these laws and stuff, and that it's subjective, Now it made sense.
Yeah.
Now it made sense why that computer came up for me and not for them. And my technician had told me there was nothing wrong with the computer that he could see, you know, but he couldn't figure out why it wasn't coming up. There was nothing wrong. So then I would go. And it was like the dog whisperer. You know how Cesar teaches the person how to be with their dog? He's not training the dog, he's training the person.
Yep.
Yes.
Be confident with your dog. You're the leader.
Oh yeah.
And it was like that, you know, it's like, it's your computer. Love your computer. What's the matter with you? I have an old Tandy, an XT, that still works, sitting in the other room.
Nice.
You know, but it's like that. You start to realize it's not just people, it's everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I've even laughed because my husband will go outside and say, well, I gotta go mow, and let's hope the edger doesn't break down. You know, and then I'll hear the edger, and then it's silent.
We should have revised that.
I didn't, God forbid that happen. You know what I mean? Once I learned, I started saying, God forbid that happen. Well, yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, it wouldn't.
Well, that's a good
Yeah,
one. 'Cause I would,
Yeah, that is a good one actually, because when I go to tell, like, I notice when I'll tell people I'm gonna go do this thing, whatever it is, and they'll be like, well, you know, if you go do that, this might happen and that might happen and this and I'm like, what? Okay, no, none of that.
Evil eye, evil eye.
Yeah. No. What were you gonna say, Gail?
no, I was just going to say I've run in, it's been a number of years now, but I've run into situations where, for example, my daughter had a flat tire on her bike. So she's telling me about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, just watching her fix it and stuff and not thinking anything of it. And then the next day coming out to a flat tire in my van. Why didn't I revise that? It's just as easy as revision.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you the
Thank
good
you.
one that happened to me recently. So we're watching the news, the weather, it's starting to rumble. There was a great big thunder. Okay. So I didn't even think about it, right? I just went and turned off the computers and unplugged them. That's subjective thinking. I know better. And not a minute after that is this huge boom. Okay. Only thing to go out is the air conditioner.
Take my computer, not my air conditioning.
Yeah.
That's what got fried, both motherboards. There's two.
Oh,
of them.
no.
So I revised.
You're
it. I forgave it. I revised it again. I said, you know, God, I know better, and I don't know. I guess you're just making the point to me. You know, I should not have worried. I should have trusted you. You know, and this was the message. I should have trusted you, and I didn't. You know, so I
find that a lot.
Exactly.
Those thoughts come up and I'm just like, no, I put it to bed right away because, you know, my kids will come in, well, you should do this or you should do that. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And just as is, purposely leave it as is. You know,
Or how about,
example of the computer, purposely leave it on because there's no issue.
No, and I always tell everybody, and he comes back to let you know he heard you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
the next day, there's another thunder. There's more thundering going on. Right?
No.
I know it's all good. Thank you for the perfect weather for my house, for my garden.
Well, I did one to Mary Jane, my daughter, one day. She was going out of the house and I pushed her as she was going out of the house, and I said, "Don't be wiping out when you go on your skateboard." Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Finish the story.
And she said, yeah. And so anyway, she came back. She's like, "I wiped out. It was your fault." She goes, "You shouldn't have said that to me, right?" And I was like, "Oh shoot."
I thought it was the story of you when you wiped out.
Oh yeah, that was a funny one. I was I told Gail I was riding my bicycle and I was all happy and I had my cell phone with me and I was taking these pictures of the sunset, and I had one hand on my handlebar, and I leaned a little bit too much and the handlebar went in. So as I took the picture, I was literally like, I took the picture and then I was like, "Ugh," and I was on the ground, and I don't even, it was so fast. It must have been hilarious to see if you'd seen it, because it was a perfect wipeout, and I've had perfect wipeouts before. And I'll always have perfect wipeouts and I'll never be hurt, but no. And I was like, what was I telling you about it? I forget now. And then I was like,
about
did you not
God
think
comes back to let
something?
you know.
didn't I think something right before it?
I think you did. Yeah, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think I was like,
That's why I brought it up, because I'm pretty sure you had said something and then you were on the ground like with
yeah,
I hope I don't wipe out taking this picture.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
hear you
so-
saying
Or I bet
that.
I would be driving with two hands on the
oh, that's
handlebar,
right,
that kind of
yeah. And then boom, it was like, and I was like, whoa, how did I get
Yeah.
down here?
Well, because once you know the laws, you're held to a higher standard.
You're at a higher level of consciousness now.
That's right. There's no more messing. There's not as much excuses you can have for not doing it right away.
For you not understanding that God's doing it. God's doing it. The one in your heart's doing it. You have no excuse.
I love you,
anymore.
Jane. Here.
Yeah. You know, you have to recognize that it's going to come at you really fast now. And that's what I've been trying to get across. It comes back really fast at you both ways.
Yeah, self
You know, not you want things instantly. You start praising God, start recognizing who's doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're only thinking, that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
That's your role in the divine.
Yes.
That's what you're learning. First, you have to learn how to think. You have to do the 360 view, be able to see it all, right? And then, now I bow to you. I bow to you. Okay, so God says, let there be palm trees. Okay. And you're like, okay, yeah. We're going to put palm trees over here and over here. And I think we should stick a few in the mountains just for the hell of it. What do you think?
Or how about send them to Canada? That would be a good one.
You know? Yeah.
Don't have any up here.
No.
So imagination thinks, but within the framework of the Father does the thinking.
Right.
What do you want me to do, Pops? I'll do it. You know what I mean? That it's that kind of thing. Give me an instruction and I'll do it. So
Oh,
God
yes. Absolutely.
and that's him just presenting. Now it's, what kind of story are you going to tell about it, son?
Yes.
Well, I don't want to tell the story of deliverance. Not ever. Whoever thought that was somebody in trouble. God forbid. You know what I mean?
So why do you think there's such a focus in storytelling then? Like I notice, well, maybe it's just being reflected back to me, but that like when I go to the movies, it's like murder and like all this sort of like, I feel like it's like this continuous story of revenge, and like, why is there so much of that?
Because when you commit murder in your heart, okay, you've imagined, you know, it could happen to others with that kind of thing. and you wouldn't do it, but you believe other people could. So it's really, when you look at it subjectively, it's killing that belief.
Yes.
No, you can't, you kill the revenge, you know what I mean? You kill the, or it's presented to you, and I will use this revenge, for example, or murder, to flip the tables. So like there's a recent movie out, forget the name of it, but it has I'd have to look it up, but it's the guy who played 007 for a little while, Daniel Craig.
Yes.
Okay, Daniel Craig's in this movie, and he plays the detective, and he's been hired by the man who's dead, and the man committed suicide in a murderous way to flip tables on his children and then have an end that he wanted, which was the girl who'd always been with him and taken care of him, and she gets everything.
Right.
Okay. And she was a hysterical character because she couldn't lie. So it was that kind of thing. And it's taking the very same thing, revenge, murder, and flipping it to the good. And a lot of people don't understand. There is a really good movie. It's called Mr. Right. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But he is a mercenary. Okay. And there's an accident where he gets hit on his head. And when he comes out of it, he decides that he's now not going to be a murderer for hire, which is what he was. He would now murder the people who try to hire him to murder others. Okay. And he's righteous about it.
Right. That's kind of like Dexter.
Yeah, it's just like Dexter. And he dances when he's fighting and when he's murdering. And it's a joy. He's having a joyous time. And it's like that, and that comes back to accept yourself. I'm a murderer. I'm a mercenary. I know what I'll do. I'll murder the people who hire me to murder other people.
Okay.
And so the first scene is him knocking on this lady's door, and she opens it and she's like, yes. And he goes, Sandra? And she's like, yes. I'm the guy you hired to murder your husband. And she's like looking around. She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, Sandra. Come on. You want him knocked off so you can have everything without a messy divorce and you get the whole law firm. Am I right? She's like, what are you doing here if you're supposed to be murdering him there? And he puts on this red clown nose, and she goes, you look ridiculous. I like it. He pulls the gun out, and she goes, what? He goes, I'm murdering you. That's what. She goes, but I hired you to murder him because murder's not right. You need to think about that.
Oh my God.
And dances off.
Oh my God.
But the great part of the movie is he goes to a store right after that, and there's this girl who's broken up with her boyfriend, and it's been all this shit, right? And she's always loved T-Rexes and stuff. She's kind of an Addams Family kind of person. And he looks at her, and that's it. He's fallen in love with her, right? And what happened was they turned and both hit the condoms. And they all fall down, all these packs of condoms, right? And he's got a whole stack in one hand that he caught, and she catches the last one. And they're both staring at each other, not trying to catch him. You know what I mean? And she's like, wow, that's impressive, because you think? Goes, hey, you want to go on a date? She goes, you're strange. I mean, And he can only think about her from that moment on. Because he could tell in that moment, she knew the magic. She knew the energy. I can talk to her. You know, I can tell her my deep, dark secrets. I can, you know, and it's just a really great little movie about, and this is what a lot of people don't get. It's not about your morals and your values and all that other stuff. If he's murdering with happiness, he's happy. He accepts himself. This is what I'm supposed to do. He doesn't.
Interesting.
That's Robin Hood. I steal because I like it. I keep a little for me and I give the rest away. They think I'm doing it for them. I'm not. I just like to steal.
So self-acceptance. And okay, so like I was brought up, I went to Sunday school and church and stuff. And I was brought up that good people do this and bad people do that. And you're a good person if you don't have those thoughts, or, and it's almost like now for me, it's the opposite. It, like I had this really big conversation with someone one time and they were like, you have to accept that you're the flawed human being. And I was like, I don't get that, right? Like I'm a flawed human being and I have to, you know, and it's not accepting that I would do those things, but I have to accept that other people do those things and that it's showing me, like Gail and I have talked about this, like it's showing me an aspect of something that in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'd never do that. I'd never do that. But that's not true, really. It's
no, because you believe other people will do it and eventually you will.
Right. So you have to, you always have to believe that all is possible. Like, and everything in your awareness is being shown to you so that you can accept, I guess, in accepting the other, you're accepting yourself.
You accept yourself, warts and all. You're
right.
A perfect expression of God.
Right.
He thought of you. That's how you got made. Okay. What imagination put on you while you were getting made is another story.
Right, right.
That's the journey.
Yes.
Okay? But you're still a perfect expression of God.
Yes.
So that's that core. Okay. I'm a winner. I may not have won the lottery this week. That just means there's more money for me next week. I'm still a winner.
Yes.
Okay. I may not have won this chess game, but that doesn't make me any less of a winner. Okay, I'll just win the next one in 4 moves.
Well, and most things from the imagination have come about that way. Like if you look at people that invent things or like make mastering things over time.
Right.
Like well, you didn't get there by the first time doing it and going, okay, well, I guess that dream's over. Like they went after it and after it and after it. And I think it's like 300 times or whatever. Then they found it. Like, so.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
You're going to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until you get it right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about you and your ego. You can't go around being ugly. They'll be ugly back. You know, and every day he learned something else until the day went perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and then he ended up with the girl in the bed and he.
Oh, yeah.
He started a new day. It didn't repeat.
That's right. Yeah.
You know? So now he was in the groove. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I like that. I love that movie, actually.
And that's why there's Deja Vu. You've already done this. What are you going to pick this time?
Right.
So is Deja Vu then, is there some kind of a clue in there for you? Like
you've already been here.
Yeah, you did this again.
You did this again.
Which,
you know,
it's kind of, so is the clue like change your thinking?
When that deja vu usually happens, you get a feeling. Okay. And it could be get out of here, leave, whatever. And you just go, no, shut up. I need to open that door.
Mm.
You know, and okay, go ahead. We've already done this. Go ahead. The girls just hadn't learned it yet. Hard-headed.
Yeah.
That's really scary this time. Okay. What do you want to do? I think we should put a clown in there. What do you think? Yeah, she doesn't like clowns.
Oh, dear.
You know?
Anyways.
But that's what happens. It's not exactly the same thing. It grows. It becomes worse and worse and worse.
Yes. Yes.
Until, oh my God, I can't move. I have had enough.
Mm.
You know, I can't live like this.
Mm.
You know,
And we're sort of seeing that societal light. Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you step back and look at the big picture, you know, just sit back and look at humanity, you know, you'll see that the ones you think are the majority are just really a very small minority that is extremely loud.
Mm.
Okay. And we've been telling ourselves for a very long time that the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
Okay. And they get what they want. That's not happening anymore. Okay. That's why they get louder. That's why they get more insistent. That's why their stories become stupider and stupider. All right. No, I'm serious.
Oh,
When Dr. Fauci put on the third mask, I was just roaring. I got news for you, sir.
Shake my
He was
hand.
like, you're about to suffocate, man.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
there's
I
a
mean?
lot of weird.
And then they get upset because you laughed at them.
Yeah. I
They
actually
think-
had that at the beach in PEI a couple of years back about carbon emissions. I met this guy was walking on the beach and I was walking on the beach and we ended up talking about cocoa or something. And we were talking and he was like, well, you know, cow farts are really building the emissions. And I started laughing because I thought he was joking, right? I'm like, nobody believes this really, right? That's sarcasm. He got so upset with me. I'm like, dude, okay. But
what's funny, if you look back, okay, you look at it. Now, everyone knows that's the stupidest thing on the earth to think that, okay? The majority laugh at that.
yeah.
We like our beef, we like our butter, we like our milk, we like, yeah, right. We'll put up with cow parts. It's okay.
Well, how are you going to stop cow farts? It's like your farts are causing it.
That's the point.
It's just a natural thing.
If you blame cow farts today, whose farts are you going to blame tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I just thought,
Seriously. And you know,
That
and then
sounds
they
like a
start to,
t-shirt to me.
that would be great.
that's some sarcasm on a shirt.
But the you know, that's a question I've asked, you know, and they just stare at me like, huh? And some actually catch on. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, seriously, are you really worried about it that badly? You know, I have to ask you why. You know why?
Yeah.
You know,
He was
why are
very
you throwing
serious.
away something that is plentiful and is cheap and we have an abundance and that can help everyone?
Yeah.
And we built an entire system around it.
Somebody
Why do
told
you
him.
throw all that away? You can add your diversity. It's a power generator.
Yeah, I think it's
Want to
an
do
and.
windmills? Go ahead. You know, but
It's
when
an
you start
and.
want to take all the farmland for your sun panels and your windmills, well, now we got a problem.
Yeah.
You know, which is what you're trying to tell me. You can get
So
rid of the cows because we need that land for your sun screen.
Is that because the conversation is all or nothing?
It in their minds. Okay.
Instead of and adding something to
Right. And it's like, well, you claim you this is where the reason comes in, and it drives me crazy, is, well, you say it's racism, for example, is the problem for the violence and drive-by shootings and all that other stuff. Really? Really? Do you really think that? Yeah. So it's not because daddy's not around. It's not because mommy's working 2 or 3 jobs and doesn't have time to give any attention to the child. And there's no daddy giving attention to the child. So who's giving attention to the child? The gang member down the street. And the reality is your child is extremely intelligent. He's not stupid. He's doing the exact same thing that a good manager does for a large corporation. He's just doing it for a drug lord. There's nothing wrong with him except who gave him attention in those formative years. And now you see things that people have been saying for decades. They just graduate people without them knowing reading, writing, and math. And now California has flat out stated we're going to graduate people who are not proficient in reading or writing or math because they shouldn't be in school anymore. Well, that just tells me you failed to see them differently and try to find another way to teach them these fundamentals that they should have never left 2nd grade, until they had them down. And that was a personal pet peeve before I found this stuff was, I will teach anyone how to read. I don't care how old you are or who you are or what. And Katrina had happened and a lot of people from Louisiana had come here. And, they got dispersed throughout the state to help get them what they needed. So a lot of them were here in Katy, and their kids were going to Katy High School. I was a big volunteer in the Katy ISD. So I would go up there and I was helping them learn how to read. And this young man had a full scholarship to LSU. It was supposed to be his senior year. And in Katy, you can't play football if you're not passing. Okay, it's an automatic 6 weeks. You can't play. Your grades have to be up. And my son would tutor the players. That's how he made his money. It was great. $20 an hour, I'll help you. And the coaches would tell him, if you need help, you go see Bob Cragwall. He's our team tutor. You go see him. And then they get upset when he'd say $20 an hour. I honestly think coach is paying me, dude. You want to play? You're going to pay.
Yeah.
But, this is how, I'm just telling you our thought process. I was helping this young man. He did not know how to read. He was a senior in high school in New Orleans with a full scholarship to LSU. Okay. And I'm like, this is your choice, and you really need to go home and talk to your parents about this. But I think, what would be best is for you to stay back a year because you're just now starting to get the reading down. And that gives you another year to actually comprehend it, get it under your belt, because let's face it, you're not going to be a football player forever. All right. So what do you do after football? There's nothing for you to do if you can't read. I said, you can do anything if you can read. So you really shouldn't go to LSU until you know how to read, because you're going to get caught up in your football program. You're going to get caught up in the drugs and the drinking and everything else that goes on in college. You're not going to learn how to read. They're going to pass you because you're going to be their football star, and you may or may not make the pros. Mm-hmm. And even if you do make the pros, you don't know how to read.
Mm-hmm.
you know? So an injury can end it at any time. Now what? You don't know how to read.
Yeah.
You know, now you'll be 30, embarrassed, not wanting to tell anyone you don't know how to read because you're the famous football player.
Yeah.
I said, and then they'll find you under the bridge one day because you don't know how to read. You know, I said, I've seen this happen to professional sports people, all right, that I know personally, you know, and I'm telling you, you need to look at all of it. Okay, and I'm just pointing out all of it to you. You do what you think is best. You want to take that scholarship, take it. You know, and he ended up staying behind, and he opened a restaurant in the next little town over Brookshire. And they just love him, and he cooks Cajun foods, and it's delicious. And he never went back to go play football or anything else. He gave up the football and found something else he loved to do.
Mm.
You know, and he would tell me, I don't really love football. I'm like, why are you doing it? You know, because everybody says I should.
Mm.
I was like, well, yeah, we're often good at things that we don't like. I said, but you don't do it if you don't like it.
Yeah. It's weird.
We're
that you
forced. We
could-
don't
yeah.
want other people to direct us.
Yeah, because you're bowing to them.
Yeah.
Well, that's objectifying your life, isn't it?
Exactly. That's just what it is. You're objectifying.
Yeah.
And you put me in a state of consciousness. You know, that's what you think of me. So I either have to have a strong mental fortitude to say, no, I don't like it. I like cooking.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll see those shows about the strong young man,
Yeah.
and he wants to be the ballerina.
Yeah.
He wants to be a male ballerina. He's still a male. He's not a fag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to play football. He doesn't want to play soccer. He wants to be a ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get all kinds of shit,
Yeah.
you know? But if he sticks to it, it all comes to him.
There comes in our conviction again, and also doing
Yeah.
what you love.
You
Like,
persist in your convictions about
Yeah.
the things that you love.
well, and if you really love something, then I don't want to say it's easy to convict, but it makes
It
makes
is.
it makes it easier.
But that comes back to that. It's a puzzle. If that puzzle piece doesn't fit, you can't force it.
Yes.
You know, and it may come close to fitting, but that's why it's hard. And then when you moved it, and now it became easy because that's where it fits.
Mm.
So for him, the football was always hard,
Yeah.
you know, but the cooking wasn't. So when he finally gave up the football and put all that energy into the cooking, got his own restaurant, gets 5-star reviews, you know, he's on the journey of the restaurants that they go around and do tours of and stuff. He's doing great. You know? That's the difference. And if you just start telling yourself life is easy, it starts flowing that way. If you think life is always hard.
Well, that goes back to what I said about conviction too. Again, is that what are you convicting? Like, are you convicted? Like, I think honestly, I was taught that life is hard. Like Gail and I have talked about that it's hard. You have to work hard. You got to sacrifice. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to well.
Yeah, but when you think about it, up until the age of 8, you were encouraged to play, have fun, live in your imagination. You know, what are you thinking? What do you want to be? You know, blah, 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 blah. Then when you hit the age of 8, you start hearing, grow up.
Mm.
No, this isn't a joke. This isn't fun. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop playing. You know? It's time for you to live in the real world.
Yes.
You know? And now you're like, Okay.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
it's the journey you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to break out of. So they're supposed to lay it down. And the particulars are in your family. But when you step back and look at it, it all comes back to that victim bully.
Mm-hmm.
1 minute you're a victim and the next minute you're the bully.
Yeah.
But you think you're the victim standing up for yourself. But you're not. You're being the bully.
Oh my God. Yes. That's really insightful.
That's a good one. We should do another show on this. I think we've been an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Coco's telling me it's time to go to the dog park, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I got to take my boy for a walk too.
Okay, good. Well, Rita, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Rita, it's been great talking.
It was
Love listening to you.
great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Good.
Rita's information is featured on our channel, her YouTube. I think maybe her Patreon is on her YouTube. She does wonderful work. She does a lot of Bible decoding. I've tried not to do anything that you're working on because I don't want to be, this is going to maybe sound weird, but I've read all of your stuff and I've tried to take that thinking, the subjective thinking about it. And now we're starting a new series called the Inner Voice.
Oh, cool.
Taking, different Bible stories and just kind of going through and decoding them or interpreting them as for where we are at ourselves. So she has books on that. She's just finished Genesis and you're working on Exodus. And so head on over to Patreon and visit her, or Amazon. You're on Amazon.
Yep. They're all on Amazon. And if you have Prime, most of them are free through Prime.
And you're my favorite bedtime story.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
As soon as I get your notification, I'm usually right on it. So
yeah. Wait a minute. What time is it? Where's her video? Or wait.
Yeah.
I know. Sometimes they can be late. I get it.
No, I'm teasing. Wait, it always comes at the right time. Everything always comes at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
See you again sometime.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, thanks.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you too, Rita.
You too. Bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.